Coming up on today's show, we're going to address the hot rumor on the internet right now that Rex Ryan is going to be coming from ESPN's couch to Denver to be the new DC and replace Vance Joseph. At least that's what Pat McAfee is speculating / spreading on the World Wide Web. So let's break all this down in just a moment, but I do want to give a quick shout out to all of our new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for helping us reach 17,000 subscribers. That is a live sub count, so if someone were to subscribe as we are filming right now, that would go from 18 to 19. So help us reach our next milestone, 18,000 subscribers, sooner rather than later. Now let's get into the show here. As Pat McAfee tweeted out yesterday, allegedly, his favorite word, the Denver Broncos could be making a change at DC. Rex Ryan is potentially in the mix. And then they attached about a 2.5 minute video clip of McAfee just tossing out what he's heard, which he said was just murmurs, just rumors, right? Chatter on the street. But here's what he said. The Broncos might be making a change at DC allegedly. I don't know when. I'm just getting messages sent to me, and it might be Rex Ryan potentially. That name has been on the radar for a potential return to defensive coordinating, and that name potentially to the Denver Broncos, allegedly. Listen, when it comes to the just overall idea / notion of Denver hiring Rex Ryan as the new defensive coordinator, if they fire Vance Joseph, I don't think the Broncos are going to look to make that move in the middle of October and drag Rex Ryan off of the couch at Get Up on ESPN and have him on the sideline at Mile High on Sunday. That does not seem like a move the Broncos would make midseason. That doesn't seem like a move Sean Payton would make midseason, right? To abandon ship on your DC choice because Sean Payton picked his defensive coordinator. And he had two options, Vance Joseph and Rex Ryan. Those were the final two candidates. So for him to swallow his pride, fire VJ midseason, and drag Rex Ryan from New York over to Denver in October, I don't see it happening. Now, a Broncos insider, Benjamin Albright, also tweeted out this that I thought you guys might find interesting. The Broncos already interviewed Rex Ryan for their DC job and chose not to hire him. We know that. And it had nothing to do with his price tag. So that is another big storyline here, is that Rex Ryan is getting paid pretty well by ESPN. And he doesn't have to deal with the rigorous schedule of being an NFL coach. So why would he want to take a job with a less pay and more work? Like, unless he is dying to get back into coaching, which, hey, a lot of people do that for, the love and the passion of what they want to do. But evidently, it's not about the Broncos not being able to afford Rex Ryan, right? Maybe it's Rex Ryan saying, I'll only come back if I get to become the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. But Albright does not believe that is the case here. He also added this. To be clear, per multiple sources, the Broncos are not considering a change in defensive coordinator at this time. Despite rampant internet speculations, the team has not discussed any change, let alone Rex Ryan. And to add on to that point, Mike Kliss also tweeted out, no to this. Vance Joseph's defense has made significant improvements last 3 weeks, most notably allowed just one touchdown versus Chiefs. 6 most takeaways last 3 weeks. Timing off on this one. So you got a lot of blue check marks, a lot of big J's coming from Denver saying it's not happening. They're not making a move. They're not making a switch from Vance Joseph to Rex Ryan, despite what Pat McAfee is saying and what he's hearing, because Pat McAfee is not suggesting, right? And there's a key difference between the two. McAfee's not going out there saying Vance Joseph sucks. They should go hire Rex Ryan. That's his opinion, right? People give opinions all the time. But what McAfee is doing is he's trying to, kind of edge his way into the breaking news world of the journalistic side of I'm hearing, I'm reporting, I'm getting rumors, I'm getting messages that Rex Ryan to the Broncos might be a possibility. However, you have Albright and Mike Kliss saying that ain't happening. And it doesn't stop there. How about Rex Ryan's co-worker, Adam Schefter, over at ESPN saying Rex is not going to the Denver Broncos right now. You know who my source is there? Rex. We were talking about it yesterday as we were watching the games. This story is like a tick. You just can't squash it. As long as this defense continues to suck, and I understand what Mike Kliss said, 1 touchdown against the Chiefs. Awesome. You want a parade? This defense still sucks. So as long as this defense still sucks, and as long as as long as Rex Ryan continues to at least flirt/entertain the idea of returning to coaching, which he has done in the last year. He was interviewing for the Broncos DC job, so there clearly is some level of interest from Rex Ryan. The internet stories are never going to die out, right? As long as those two things remain constant, which Vance Joseph and this defense are likely going to continue sucking, and Rex Ryan, as long as he does not die, he is still going to be rumored as a possible VJ replacement because of how bad this defense is. Now, before we talk about Vance Joseph and this defense in more detail, today's show is being supported by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy sports app where all you have to do is pick more or less for 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. For Prize Picks this week, here's what they have Jerry Jeudy at. More or less 48.5 receiving yards. Part of me wants to take the more because I want to see his trade value go up for sure, but I also feel like we're going to get another 25-yard performance from Jerry Jeudy, so maybe the less is the move. I don't know. I keep going back and forth on this one. Someone decide for me in the comment section. All right, Prize Picks is super simple and user-friendly. I spend 1 to 2 minutes on the app every Sunday morning making my selections. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. The link for that is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Let's circle back to what Mike Kliss said, right? About, hey, the Broncos defense is improving. Now's not the time to make a change. And sure, it's gotten better. Look at the numbers on the left, weeks 1 through 3, compared to the last 3 weeks of the season, right? Points allowed has gone down from 40.6 to 26. Yards allowed has gone down. The sacks have gone up after not recording a single sack against Garoppolo and the Niners. They've picked up 10 over the last 3 weeks. And takeaways has gotten up, right? 5 takeaways over the last 3 weeks compared to just 1 in weeks 1 through 3. First downs is down as well. So, sure, if you just look at the numbers, you could make an argument of now's not the time to fire your defensive coordinator. They're starting to get into a rhythm. They're starting to put some good games on top of each other, right? This is a time to rally around this defense, not take out the head of it and fire your DC. I'm not quite there, but be the GM for me for a second. If you were in charge, would you fire Vance Joseph for Rex Ryan? If you had that opportunity right now and you were calling the shots, would you do that? Yes or no? I would love to know what you have to say about firing Vance Joseph and getting Rex Ryan to Denver if you were calling the shots. If this defense is improving, and that just means you're only giving up 26 points per game, then we are comparing shit and throw up. I mean, they're both awful. 26 points per game is not something to brag about as an improvement. It's 26 points a game. That's still one of the worst in the NFL. Just because it was so bad at the start of the year that now it's not as bad doesn't mean it's better. Doesn't mean that it's a good defense now. No, it just means they're not giving up 70 points to the Dolphins every week. They're still a bad defense. Sure, they had a good outing against the Chiefs. Bravo. One good game. Show me that 2 times in a row. Because the last time I saw them before the Chiefs game, Zach Wilson had a career high in completion percentage. Breece Hall had a career high in rushing yards. A Nathaniel Hackett-led offense had his quarterback have the best game of his NFL career when it comes to completing the football. But you want to tell me they're getting better. Now's not the time to give up. Listen, fire him, don't fire him. They're still going to be bad, okay? Having said that, I'm still not a fan of Rex Ryan. I don't think he is a very good defensive coordinator. Frankly, I don't think he's a very good NFL coach anymore. But just because the defense has improved the last 3 weeks, that is not a reason to believe that they could not make an improvement or fire Vance Joseph or hire a new DC. Just because they're not giving up 70 points a game anymore doesn't mean they're any better. It just means they're not the laughing stock of the National Football League. Now, let's talk a little bit about Rex Ryan and his defense, because I want to show you guys what the Bills' defense was doing before they hired Rex Ryan for 2 seasons, and then 2 seasons with Rex Ryan as the head coach. Points allowed, up. Yards allowed, up. Passing yards allowed, up. Rushing yards allowed, up. Takeaways, down. This defense got worse with Rex Ryan, and they weren't all that great before him. So to take a solid defense, at best 21 points allowed, and make it worse when you hire a defensive-minded head coach, like, that is not something I am running to try and get in bed with. I don't think that just because Rex Ryan has a defensive background means that he is going to be some mastermind DC in Denver. The guy hasn't coached in almost a decade at this point. He was fired by the Buffalo Bills back in 2015, 2016. It's been a long time. The game has moved on. Offenses are different. I mean, how many starting quarterbacks are playing right now that were even in the league back when Rex Ryan was still on an NFL sideline? Probably less than 5. So I refuse to accept that the only 2 options are the worst defensive coordinator in the NFL right now in Vance Joseph, or a washed-up coach who was bad the last time he was on the sideline 7 years ago. If you think you're getting the Ray Lewis Baltimore Ravens DC from 2 decades ago, you are mistaken. That guy's not walking through the door. The guy walking through the door is probably closer to what he last was, which was a defense that ran the Bills' defense into the ground 7 years ago, and he's been given bad takes on ESPN ever since. Now, if you want to make an actual switch at DC, it's probably going to be an internal improvement. Joe Vitt, who is currently on the Broncos staff as a senior defensive analyst, has the most experience of any Broncos defensive coach. He's got familiarity with Sean Payton. He coached under him from 2006 to 2016. Ultimately, there was a shakeup in New Orleans after some 7-9 seasons. But if they really want to fire Vance Joseph, because you look at the upcoming schedule here, and there are some tough games. The Packers come to town off a bye. They have the Chiefs coming to town. We saw that went last time. Then the bye, going to Buffalo, and then the Vikings coming to home. I mean, Denver's not even favored against Green Bay. They're not favored against the Chiefs for sure. They won't be favored at Buffalo. And they might not even be favored at home against a 2-4 Vikings team. So if things start to go south during this stretch right here, maybe after losing to the Packers and the Chiefs, you see Vance Joseph get fired and you see a change made at the bye week. But I do not see Rex Ryan coming on over during the bye and taking over midseason. That does not seem realistic to me. Before we get on out of here, I do want to highlight a comment from our last video from Jay Stevenson. It's a bit long, but just stick with me for a moment. Before the season started, you called out my comment for me not buying into the hype of Sean Payton. I said he only had a 60% win rate, which you corrected me by saying it's actually a whole 3% higher, and that was a big deal. Well, I still don't think that 3% made a difference, and Payton wasn't worth the first-round pick to get him. I'm waiting to be proven wrong, but this is one of the worst teams I've ever seen. Jay, I say a lot of things. I'm not saying that I didn't say this, but I don't remember saying it, but I'll take your word for it. My job is to talk for a living, so I give out bad takes all the time. So no doubt about that. As for it not looking good right now, no doubt about it. I mean, they are 1-5, and they gave up their first-round pick this year to get Sean Payton and a third-round pick next year. So it is not looking good. I want to be optimistic, so I'm going to remain that way. Because if Sean Payton goes south, this team is going straight for the bottom of the toilet. I mean, I don't see any way out because they're not going to be bad enough to get Caleb Williams, but they're going to be just bad enough to get the 3rd or 4th overall pick, hopefully find a good player, but knowing Denver's draft history lately, might be a bust, and we're back in not even like purgatory. We're in football hell if this does not go well. But, Jay, I'm sorry if I corrected you on 3%. I don't know what to say other than I hope we're all proven wrong because it's not looking good. But I mean, credit to you for being ahead of this one. I definitely was in the camp of this was a good hire/trade. I was a fan of the move. I thought he would come in and really shake things up early on. And we're only 6 weeks in, so I'm going to pump the brakes on the entire thing being a catastrophe already. I remember when the Dolphins started off 0-7, and then Brian Flores had them winning 7 in a row. So let's not give up hope just yet. But have you given up on Sean Payton? Give me a 1 or a 2 down in the comment section. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Like I said, I have not given up on Sean Payton just yet. We're still early. I mean, we're mid-season. We're a third of the way into the season. A lot of football left. A lot of football left. Might not be football that gets us to the playoffs, but football that gets you out of being in a complete and utter embarrassment in the AFC this year.